Hi guys, it's Danielle from VA Lifestyle Design, and today I have with me a new virtual assistant, or relatively new at the outset of her career, Cheryl DeClerc. She lives in Portland, Oregon, and I was able to catch up with Cheryl a couple of weeks ago, and we just had an amazing chat because, you know, Cheryl at that stage when we chatted, I'm pretty sure she was like less than a month into working with her first client, and I'll get her to clarify that when I introduce her in just a moment. But the really cool thing that stood out to me about Cheryl was that, you know, right from the outset, she had the mindset, she was taking the actions that were inevitably going to lead to getting a fast start, to being able to, you know, secure those first clients very early on. In fact, before she'd even finished the initial training that she set out to do. So, you know, everyone has their own unique approach as to, you know, what's going on in their life, you know, how ambitious they want to be at the outset, what type of niche clients they want to work with at the outset. Everyone has a unique approach, but there's also, I guess, common threads that I see time and again in, you know, the things that people are thinking at the outset when they're getting started, the actions that they're taking. And Cheryl was just a perfect example of that. So that's why I asked her if she would hop on a call with me to share a little bit of insight into how she has, you know, got her VA career started. And I guess the other big reason that I wanted to chat with her now is because a lot of times what we see is when virtual assistants are well established, they're up and running, they might have been doing this for a couple of years or longer, they start to have success, they start to be able to pick and choose their clients. It's quite common that, you know, those success stories are the ones that we're visibly seeing online, online, on blog posts, you know, people sharing, okay, I've done it now and this is how I did it. But I feel it's really important. You know, it's one thing to go back and try and explain and describe how you got your career off the ground right at the outset, but it's another thing to be able to share and chat with someone who's actually doing this right now, right in those early stages of, you know, really getting into this. So welcome, Cheryl. Thank you so much for coming along today.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you for having me.
So first of all, I would love to ask you, you know, what is it that, you know, got you to start thinking about virtual assistants as a career option? What position were you in, you know, in your family unit, you personally, when you thought, okay, this may be something I could do? How did that kind of come about?
You know, I'm a stay-at-home mom and I have 4 kids at home, and I've been looking for years for something that I can do at home. I'm a busy person and I like to stay busy. It keeps my mind focused on something, and I think I'm a better person for using that energy in a positive way. So when I was researching Costa Rica vacations, and I saw a little video that you and your husband had about, you were on the beach in Costa Rica, and I thought, what are they talking about? They keep saying, you know, work from home. And I thought, well, I don't know about this, but maybe it's my answer. And so then I started watching all your videos, and mostly about Costa Rica, but I was intrigued. And so I watched your,
you were saying that you weren't going into this like typing in virtual assistant.
No, I didn't know what that was.
This is so cool. So you found kind of like a backdoor route through Costa Rica research. Okay, yeah. I love that.
And so I watched your free videos that you had online, and you know, and then I started doing my own research, and then I thought, well, can I do this? Is this real? There's so many things. I was writing down Infusionsoft, you know, what are these things? And then going to the websites and checking them out for myself. And so that's how I started. And then I thought, okay, I can do this. You know, I think it was included in a couple of your webinars, and just really did my research. And I thought, okay, I think I can do this. I've been looking for work at home, and I think this is for me.
Yep.
And yeah.
And so that, I guess that certainty that you had, where you had that mindset of like, okay, yep, this is something I could do. Was that based off of, you know, something you'd done in your past work life before kids or anything? Or was it just like, you know, researching enough online to kind of see
right
what it was all about?
You often say that you can do your research. There's, it's right at your fingertips. There's always something, if you don't know the answer, you can research it and find the answer. And I research. I like to research. That's part of my personality. And so I thought, well, okay, I think I can do that. And then the next step was to, dive in. And how do you get to that point? I felt like, okay, I can do this. I think I can. And then if Danielle says you don't need experience. And I thought, well, maybe I need a blog. I don't have any experience online or with a blog. And so I thought, well, she says I don't need a blog, so I'll just try it. And I thought, well, this is what I want to do. I want to be a VA. I think that that's the right fit for me. And the next step, if I want to pursue this career, I think that Danielle and her program is going to be the right ticket. And I think absolutely I was right.
Right. So it sounds like you were just like stepping forward in that decision making. And I also thank you for your trust in me.
Yeah.
It sounds like you were doing a lot of like, okay, she said it.
Yeah, I know. It does take a lot of trust. And especially when you purchase, training, you have to be confident. And I think watching your webinars and going through your free training videos, I was sure that, okay, there is integrity here, and she says that this is what you're going to get. And I did believe you, and it took trust. Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
So when you started training, like I kind of get the feeling that before you even, dove into training through the Online Biz Skills program, you'd already kind of come to that position where it's like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. I'd be good at that. The way that I describe it, and definitely when we were able to chat a couple of weeks ago, is that, your certainty, your confidence, your presence as a brand new VA before you have a first client, when you're just getting up and running, it doesn't need to come from your experience. So a lot of people think confidence needs to be tied to experience, right? Because clients, They do want confidence, right? When you're a newbie, they do want that confidence, that centeredness, that presence. But the thing that people often don't realize is that doesn't need to be tied to experience, but rather it can be just tied to your own internal conviction that, yeah, I could do this. I'd be good at this. I don't know it all yet, but I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to care about my client's business. And, so that certainty, that's what I really felt from you is, and we'll talk about in a minute, how quickly you got your first client. But I felt like that happened because you had this internal conviction that wasn't like, oh, I know all of this, or, I'm not going to get stuck or anything like that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And I get nervous when I look into the future a little bit, but, there's always that window of like, okay, if I don't know the answer, there's answers at my fingertips. And that's a lot of comfort. And I think that that's where confidence comes from, is that, okay, I have my skills. I mean, in the online biz skills, I have that, and I referred back to it time after time of that. Okay, I do know, just WordPress and how to navigate, and that knowledge is so important. And in your I saw my vision of I want to be a VA, and I want to do a great job. I want to be the best, that I can be. And so that's where that comes from. My own drive. Like I want to do a good job for my clients.
That's awesome. So it's like that inner integrity, that willingness to step up. That was kind of how you were getting your start, basically.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And so someone saw that in you quite early on. So that was that first client that you connected with. Can you tell us about that? What happened?
Well, I went through the first couple of units like within the first week, and I thought, gosh, I know my friend has a blog. She's been blogging for a long time, and she told me that she wanted to monetize her blog. And so I called her and I said, hey, I'm learning these new skills. How can I help you? I know that this is your goal. And and how do you need my help? I'm here. I'll help you. And so she really grabbed onto that and was like, hey, yeah, I do want to do all these things, and I think Cheryl can help me. So that was how that happened right off the bat, like the first week.
So that was the first week after starting training, or the first week of, right, okay.
Training, yeah.
For the time frame, I guess for everyone listening, what was the time frame between you finding out about the possibility to be a virtual assistant and starting training?
I think I was researching Costa Rica in December, and I think a couple webinars that you put on in the spring I was a part of, and then I signed up for Online Biz Skills May 12th, I think is when it, so
2016.
Yep. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
And then this client, you dug into the first couple of units in May, and then that kind of gave you some inspiration to get on the phone and ring up your friend who was a well-established blogger, but not yet monetized. Is that right?
Right. Yep. And then she had a question about writing a book. And so I contacted my second client, and she had written a book. So I asked her, hey, can you give me some tips about writing a book? And she said, hey, I need a VA. So that's how that happened, very organically, not.
Wow. So you contacted this person. So the other person, what was the connection there? How did you know them?
Same friends. The second. Yeah. Yep.
So you were proactive in going, okay, well, I've secured this first client, and I'm going to ask this other person who I know has that information, and I'll kind of
Yeah. And I didn't know that she needed a VA. I kind of figured that she had one.
Yeah,
because she's very, very active in her blog and in her business, and so we set up a Skype, and then the rest is history. So
that was within a few weeks, or a couple?
All in May. It really happened all in May.
Wow! So, and when you told your family, your husband and kids this, what did they say?
Yay! They're just so supportive, and they're little kids. My kids are little, so they don't know, but they're really supportive though.
Yeah. That is so cool.
Yeah.
And
I want to.
You go.
I want to say that my clients are amazing. They're both, women, and they have their goals, and I'm so excited for them. That I can be a help to them and part of getting them to their goal. Like, I think that that's amazing. I think both of my clients are amazing, and I'm really happy to be where I'm at.
So they obviously get that sense from you as well. Do you share that directly with them, or do you think they just feel it kind of in the way that you correspond with them, or what have you?
I think so. I think both. Yeah. Yep. Just over Skype or over the phone.
Yeah. I think that's really huge, like what you're saying there, that real interest in being the support for their goals, still being that independent, running your own show, working for yourself, but at the same time, really taking that enjoyment out of collaborating with someone to kind of support what they are focused on, their big vision or what have you.
Yes.
That's the type of thing that just makes clients want to keep finding more to delegate to you. They're looking under the table, they're looking on the bookshelf. What else can I get off my plate? Because it's a different thing when it's like, I need this technical thing done that I can't do. I can't do this code.
Right.
I don't have time to proofread that, or I don't have time to, create these graphics. And okay, I'll hand it over to this expert. But it's a really different thing when you are that supporting virtual assistant where they just know you've got their best interest at heart.
Right.
And so they'll find every little thing, they'll start having you be the intermediary on a lot of communication, so if you're dealing with other people on their behalf, has that come up at all as yet, where you've had to, correspond with other people?
No, not yet. No, I know that they both have a couple of things launching this fall, and so I'm excited for where this leads. I'm not, I'm just doing little things right now, and hopefully we get there. Whatever they want me to do, I'll help them Yeah.
That is so cool. And so what are those things? Just to give us a little bit of insight, what type of, services, systems have you been helping these first couple of clients with?
Yeah, well, WordPress, my first client, I edit her blog posts and I look over her MailChimp newsletter and maybe put an image in there every once in a while. And so she's kind of doing that. Well, and then I'm editing for her. And then my second client, I'm doing Pinterest for her. I pin quite a bit and do marketing on Pinterest is really what it is. Her blog posts and then promoting her book and her workouts. She's a women's health and fitness expert. And so that's what I do. And imagery, I use Canva.
Canva. Yep.
And I've been using that program to make new images for her.
Okay. And how did you find that? Do you feel comfortable in there or still learning or?
I do feel pretty comfortable with that. I did go back and watch your video again and refresh, okay, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And just pulling, where to look for images and using that and finding, make sure that you do that right. And so online biz skills helped.
Excellent. So the second client, so the first client, she's in the fitness niche, right? She's a fitness blogger and health.
My second client.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one, she's an author?
She has a blog and she's just starting to go. She wants to do life coaching.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
I think a really cool thing there is when you're connecting with people that you already know to be a potential client. So when I got started, I was in Costa Rica. I didn't get on the phone and call anyone. I kind of did it all virtually, but I hear more and more stories of people, connecting with people on the ground in some way. That's actually how we contracted our first team member. It was someone on the ground, not a close friend, but someone that we kind of knew of. And what I would say there is, listening to Cheryl's story, differentiating between the scenario where someone might come in and say, oh, you have an online business? Can you tell me about it? I'd love to help you. I'd love to work from home too. It differentiated from what Cheryl did in her story, where she's started skilling herself up. She started hearing this random jargon like Infusionsoft and typing in and looking at what that actually means, what that system is. She's really, stepping forward with her passion and her own interest in this, and then getting on the phone to a friend that she knows is kind of in that online business world, so to speak. Can you imagine how different that is? Do you know what I mean? Imagine how many other people might contact her and say, oh, you're blogging, can you tell me how to do it? I guess I share that from personal experience as well, because that first team member that we hired, she was saying things to me like, oh, I've just started. She didn't know exactly what we did. She knew that we kind of worked online, but she didn't know that it was virtual assistants. She didn't know it was online marketing support. But she was, because she kind of knew that we had some general idea, when we would see each other in passing, she would say things like, oh, I'm so interested in this social media. I've just started doing this free social media training program, and oh, have you ever checked out anything like this? And we had probably several of these conversations where I was said to my husband, damn, this woman, she's into it. She's going to make something happen. And I said, one day I went in there, I said, do you know what we do? And she's like, oh, not really. And I said, I told her, and I, obviously gave her the proposition, would you like to, start building your career and etc. That was so awesome, the perfect mix. But it was different. There were so many people that were like, oh, have you got any work? Being in Costa Rica, everyone of course needs to have a remote work, because there's no, as an expat, you can't go and get the same rate locally on the ground that you would in your home country or your home city. So, it was so different. So many people would say, have you got any work? And this team member would start to get the same inquiry as well. Oh, you just sit there on the computer and work. I want to do that. And she'd be like, in other words, what I'm saying there is the people who are, securing these opportunities fast it's not because they've got years of experience, it's because they're showing that they're stepping up with that enthusiasm, that passion, that interest, that, willingness to research, investigate. And I think that, I'm guessing that's really what happened in those scenarios with those clients, or part of it at least, part of it.
Yes. Yep. They showed some interest. And so my first client, I was like, hey, here's your goal. Maybe try this, this, and this. And she really responded well to that. So yeah.
That's so cool. So tell me this, what, from your perspective, like whether it's, training or your situation, what have you, what has been the most challenging part for you, or if there has been?
I think the most challenging part has been learning at the same time as doing. It takes a lot of extra mind power to learn and do, because you're learning as you're doing too, in my position. And so that's been a challenge. My brain seems like it's just like going 500 different ways, but the time, I think it takes a lot more time than what I thought, and a lot more, billable time is way less than your actual doing, especially when you're learning.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. And so how do you kind of compartmentalize that in your mind or in your schedule? Okay, now I'm going to study this because I want to keep growing, or now I'm going to get this client work done, or now I'm going to be with family. How do you kind of make that work?
I've had to tell myself, like, just calm yourself down. Like, there's no rush into doing these other programs and learning these other programs, when, like, focus on your client. This is what they need. And then, find the time to watch, I'll do training just 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. Not at all. I'm still way behind on that. So I'm hoping that the new school year, I'll have a little bit more time. But I get up early in the morning before the kids get up, and I work online, do a few little things, and then in the evening, late after they go to bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For right now, that's how it is. So, and it's summertime here, and it's busy. We're busy at the house, and so our time is a little bit vacationing and stuff is.
How old are your kids?
9, 7, 6 tomorrow. I have a birthday tomorrow, and then 1.5.
Beautiful.
So 4. Yeah, 4 of them.
But the 3 oldest ones are in school, right? Yeah.
They will in September.
When summer, finishes. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We here in Bali, we've just had the new year start yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the European calendar, because it's different to my home country, Australia. But yeah, so the term starts in August. Interestingly.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Okay, and so you're doing it early in the morning and late evening, and so that works for your clients because you're not helping them with like personal assistant type services. Is that right? Where they need you at set hours?
Right. Nope. I'm just I have my projects that I do, and then Pinterest, I'm just doing on my own time. I have a scheduler that I use. And so I pin to that scheduler, and then it will go. It just does it automatically. I schedule it throughout the day.
That's excellent. Which tool are you using for that?
That one is Tailwind.
Excellent. Great.
Yeah. It's been very helpful.
So if you're just in the research phase and you're watching this interview, then of course do what Cheryl did and go off and Google Tailwind to see what that's all about. Like, there's just the options are unlimited, really, isn't it? You can get enthusiastic about a certain system, learn it, go in deep on it.
Right. Yeah.
And I think what you shared about, that phase where you're learning and doing, and it's, the mind kind of feels like, whoa, is there enough room up there to fit all this in? What my experience was with that was like you kind of go through intense phases of learning and then plateauing out where you're rolling on with client work and, not expanding out into any new systems. And then you might go, okay, well, I want to take on this big new client, but they use this other system. Oh, okay, intense learning again. And so you have those, I guess, comfort stretches. And I had a comfort stretch like for a couple of years. And then I was like, no, I want to actually step up here. And then I had, you know, a couple of years in, I had another phase of that intense, like, oh my gosh, I'm learning and doing it all at the same time. It's intense, but it's kind of fun too.
It is fun. Yeah, I love the researching and learning a new skill. I think it's challenging and it's fun.
Yep. So you shared a little bit about, you know, I think that's so awesome how you're like focusing on, okay, my client, what's their goals, you know, therefore what should I have my focus on at the outset, because that's a priority. I think that's huge. So many people have shared with me a similar approach that, okay, I didn't finish that part of the training or whatever because I'm focusing on growing with my client. I think that's such a smart way to do it, because that's the whole objective of training, really, isn't it? To get those first clients under your belt. So what do you see as like your focus, your vision from here? Are you trying to set this up part-time, full-time? What's your focus on moving forward with your VA career?
You know, I think I'm just going to just take it slow and focus on my clients. They're, I think, amazing, and they have great goals, and I want to help them reach their goals. And if it's just a little bit of work here and there every month, then that's fine. And then I can always reach out. I have the skills and I know how to work a few systems. And if I want to pick up another client, I think I'll be ready when I feel ready for that. So, but right now I'm just comfortable, and being so busy, I think that I'm just at a perfect place right now for myself and my family.
That's so good to hear. That's so awesome.
Just part-time too.
Part-time.
I'm not going full-time with it, even though it feels like full-time sometimes.
Yeah, that's perfect situation. And what would you share with someone who is potentially interested in connecting with, you know, because I talk a lot about connecting with people virtually through online networking, etc. I know that if I had started in Australia, I probably would have gone up to, you know, loose friendships or connections and mentioned what I was doing. Like my chiropractor, we had a good relationship with him. I know he was trying to get his blog up and running. I probably would have, you know, if I was in Australia, I would have like, oh, hey, you know, I could help you with your blog. Like, what would you say to someone who is potentially looking at that option for those initial client connections locally, either, you know, close friends or, you know, just business owners they know? What's a good way to do it?
I think just reaching out and saying, hey, I have these skills. I mean, just in my first client, I said, I know WordPress. You know, I can navigate through that, even though I don't have any experience. Just a little bit of knowledge, just a little bit knowing more than the next person can really help you get to where you want to be. And it just makes you that more employable, I guess, or I don't know if that's the right word, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
right.
Naming system names is a big one.
Right, naming the system names, absolutely, yeah. And you know, if you have an interest in a blog or online business, look and see what they use. And oh, hey, you use MailChimp. I know how to create campaigns in MailChimp. You know, those types of things.
Yep, for sure. So offering something specific, saying, okay, here's how I can help. Yeah.
I
love that. Guys, I think that's just such a huge part of it, is when you're, you know, just stepping up and offering something specific in that kind of internally confident certain way, just saying, hey, I've got the skills in this, I could help you with that. It's so different to, you know, have you got any work or what have you, or how do I get a job online, all that type of thing. It's really differentiated, like, you know, here's my skills and here's someone I'd be interested in helping. I'd really, you know, enjoy that. I'm going to just reach out and mention it to them. Who knows what's going to happen? I might never hear back from them. I might get, you know, this amazing response where it's like, yes, I need help.
Right. Or nope, we've got it covered. Or, you know, I really assume that a lot of people have VAs already. Because it takes a lot. It's a lot of work to run an online business.
It is.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Too, I also wanted to mention that doing my research and deciding that I would like to be a VA and pursuing this career, I thought, okay, this is what I want. This is where I see myself. And nobody was going to help me do that. Like, that was my choice. It's not like you're going to school. So I reached out. I decided this is where I want to be. And here are the skills right in front of me. I just happened to stumble upon and learn about online biz skills. And so it took me like, okay, I think this is what I want to do. And okay, here are the tools. And I trust that I'm going to be able to make it happen. And so it's hard, but it was a great step. And I'm glad that I took that step.
Right.
So.
I love that. So it's like, okay, here's where I want to be.
Right.
Here's the means to get there. I'm just going to do that and see where it takes me. Like, okay, that's the decision done.
Right.
Yep.
That's it. It takes a lot. It was, and then I get nervous once in a while thinking like, oh, what am I going to do? But, I'm really happy.
That's so cool. Yeah. It reminds me, I wrote this blog post that was like, decide, set a goal, get it done. And it's kind of saying like, not that you have to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to build this big agency or big team of VAs or whatever. Just like, nope, that's where I want to be. These are the skills and I'm just going to get that done. And you can decide from there, okay, do I want to just now get comfortable and start not coasting along, but, just be comfortable in my client support work? Or do I want to expand, or do I want to retract? And I think that's a really cool part of online careers, is that you can increase and decrease them without impacting your network, without impacting your reputation, your referral base, etc. Like, different to a corporate career, if you drop back to part-time, you're in different types of roles than you would be if you were full-time. That was definitely my experience before I became a mother, is that you kind of have to be all in or not to, and that's not the case with virtual careers. So just that, going, okay, well, I'm going to get to this benchmark, and then when I'm there, I'll make a next decision. I think that's huge.
Right.
Cheryl, thank you so much for, just sharing that kind of insight into the way your thought process was before you got started. And how far in are you now?
Just 2 months, 3 months. I started in May.
In May,
when I started online biz skills. Yeah.
Love that. Awesome. Yeah. So good to talk to you.
Oh, thank you, Danielle. Thank you for having me.
All right. Talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.